a big house, the fastest sports car, and the best designer clothes. Winning the lottery does bring that dream life, but it also brings enemies and haters. And that's exactly what these 7 lottery winners attracted. Let's talk about the ones who hit the jackpot and were never found again. Number 7. Abraham Shakespeare. This is Abraham Shakespeare, who had his dream win back in 2006. He won $30 million from the Florida lottery and took home $17 million in cash. He was supposed to be set for life, but things didn't go how he hoped. At first, Abraham made some decent purchases. He bought a nice home in a gated community, picked up a used Rolex and a nice car. That was it. He was not trying to live like a celebrity, but the money didn't bring peace. It brought people. In fact, too many of them. Everyone wanted something: a loan, a gift, a business idea. Abraham got fed up. He even told friends he was better off broke. Then in 2009, Abraham just vanished. His family hadn't seen him in months. Some hoped he ran off to the islands to escape all the noise, but others knew something felt wrong, especially when his mom got a birthday card from him. The problem is, Abraham couldn't write. He was illiterate. The woman who claimed to be helping him was Doris Dee Moore. Suspicion arose when she suddenly started driving his cars, living in his house, and taking over his money. She told wild stories like Abraham was in Texas, then Puerto Rico, and then in Jamaica. She even had someone call his mom pretending to be him. Eventually, she slipped. She showed someone a spot in her boyfriend's backyard under a concrete slab. That's where the police found Abraham. He was buried 9 feet under. He had been missing since April. It was now January 2010. She tried blaming drug dealers, a lawyer, and even her own teenage son. Anything but herself. Turns out she had been spending his money all along to purchase cars, go on vacations, and buy designer stuff. She even offered someone $50,000 to say they killed Abraham, just to get herself off the hook. After months of pretending everything was fine, her scheme was exposed. Police arrested her in February 2010. By the end of 2012, Dee Moore was convicted and got life without parole. The sad thing is, Abraham was dead for nearly a year, while the woman who claimed to be his friend lived it up on his dime. And for months, no one even knew he was already gone. Unlike Abraham, who was kidnapped by someone he trusted, this next lottery winner was abducted by some unknown people. Number 6. Jonas Lucas Alves Diaz. This is the story of Jonas Lucas Alves Diaz, and when he disappeared, it shocked everyone. Not just because he was rich, but because he was the last person you would expect to end up that way. He was quiet, kind, and careful, or at least that's what people thought. He won Brazil's biggest lottery, the Mega Sena, back in 2020, 47 million reais. That's the kind of money that changes lives. But Jonas didn't move to a gated mansion or hire bodyguards. He stayed in the same house in Hortolândia, wore his flip-flops, walked the same streets, and just tried to live like a regular guy. By 2022, everyone in town knew about his win. And then, one day in September, he went out for a walk and never came back. Hours passed, then a full day, and there was no news from him. His family panicked and called the police. The police scrolled through his phone records and watched every security footage they could find to piece things together. Turns out, Jonas had been kidnapped. He was forced to call his bank and beg them to approve a massive transfer. 3 million reais to be exact. But the bank got suspicious and they denied his request. Even then, the kidnappers still managed to steal some money, just not what they were hoping for. After taking his money, they dumped him along a highway, battered and barely alive. He was rushed to the hospital, but the injuries were too much. He died there, never making it back home. Police tracked the money trail. That's how they found 2 suspects, one of whom had the cash sitting in her account. The arrests came quickly, but there were others involved and they vanished. What hurts is that Jonas was not flashy. He gave to charities, helped friends. He didn't shove his win in anyone's face. But it didn't matter. The wrong people still saw an opportunity and they took it. While Jonas didn't know his kidnappers and killers, this next winner was betrayed by someone close to him. Number 5. Jeffrey Dampier. Jeffrey Dampier won $20 million in the Illinois lottery back in 1996. But the truth is, no matter how much money you have, it cannot fix everything in your life. He was on the brink of a divorce and his marriage ended soon after the win. He had to split the money with his ex-wife, and after that, he moved to Florida to start over. New home, new wife, and a small business. He opened a gourmet popcorn shop. At that time, he was not chasing fame or wealth. He just wanted a peaceful life. But Jeffrey had a soft heart, and that's where things got bad for him. He began supporting his new wife's family, paid their bills, gave them gifts, let them live comfortably. One of them was Victoria, his sister-in-law. He trusted her, but way more than he should have. Jeffrey started a secret affair with Victoria. And whether it was love, manipulation, or just poor judgment, it would cost him everything. One evening, Victoria called Jeffrey and said she needed help with her car. He showed up, thinking he was doing her a favor. But it was a trap. She and her boyfriend Nathaniel tied him up, forced him into his own van, and took him to their apartment, where Victoria was handed a shotgun. According to investigators, Nathaniel told her to shoot, and she did. She killed Jeffrey right then and there. Jeffrey was murdered by people he knew, people he gave everything to. Both Victoria and Nathaniel were later convicted of kidnapping and first-degree murder. They will spend the rest of their lives in prison. And what's chilling about Jeffrey's story is not just the betrayal. It's how kindness and generosity became the reason he was targeted. He tried to make a better life for everyone. He just never expected they would take his life in return. Number 4. Maynard Mickey Garrison. Next, we have the story of Maynard Garrison, known to most as Mickey. He was one of those quiet, small-town guys who lived in Oregon and kept to himself. So when he won a $5 million lottery prize in the early 2000s, it didn't really change much about the way he lived. At least not on the surface. He still worked, still drove his truck. But in reality, things were starting to shift. See, Mickey was not living alone. He was married to a woman named Anita, and their relationship, by many accounts, was tense. Friends said they argued a lot. There were rumors of jealousy, mistrust, and even fights about money. Apparently, Anita thought Mickey was cheating on her, especially after the win. She started watching his every move. She even installed a hidden recorder in his trunk to catch him talking to other women, but she never got the proof she was hoping for. Then one day, everything just stopped. Mickey went missing in November 2001. He vanished. He was last seen near the remote logging roads around La Grande. His truck was found not long after, but Mickey was nowhere to be found. People searched for him, and the police got involved, but nothing turned up. But it didn't stay quiet for long. Almost a year later, in September 2002, hikers discovered a decomposed body in the Blue Mountains, and it was Mickey's. He had been shot in the back of the head. He was not robbed, though, and there were no signs of a random attack. There was just a bullet. It didn't take long for suspicion to land on Anita. She was arrested and charged with murder, all while still denying she had anything to do with it. Prosecutors said jealousy and greed drove her to kill her husband, that she couldn't handle the idea of him leaving her, especially not with millions in the bank. Anita stuck to her story in court. She claimed innocence and said she loved her husband, but the jury didn't buy it. In 2004, she was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison. Like Anita, the murder of this next lottery winner was carried out by someone way too close to home. Number 3. Tiffany Hill. Tiffany Hill was a mother of 4 from Oklahoma who hit a small fortune in 2020. She won over $2 million from a California lottery scratcher. Now, that's not billionaire money, but for someone living in rural Oklahoma, it is quite a lot. Tiffany took the lump sum payout, moved her family into a beautiful new home in Calera, and started making plans for the future. But there was one problem. Tiffany was married to a man named John Donato, and from what her family said, their relationship was rocky. John was controlling and toxic, and when she won, instead of things getting better, their relationship got worse. Her family later said they were worried. Tiffany had talked about leaving John. She wanted to start fresh. Then came July 30th, 2021. Police were called to the couple's home for a wellness check. What they found was that Tiffany and her 1-year-old daughter Leanne were both dead. They were shot. What was more shocking was that her husband John was also dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. It was a murder-suicide. Investigators later confirmed what her family feared all along, that the win had made her more vulnerable, not less. Tiffany's relatives believed that the money made her a target in her own home. They say she tried to leave, but it was too late. She didn't get the chance. What hurts most is that Tiffany was trying to build a better life for her kids and for herself. She was not out partying, buying sports cars, or showing off her stacks of cash. She wanted safety and stability, and the lottery should have given her that, but it just brought her a sad ending. Number 2. Irouge Khan. Now here is a case that still gives people goosebumps. Irouge Khan was a hard-working dry cleaner from Chicago. who won the lottery back in 2012. And not a couple thousand. He hit $1 million jackpot with a scratch-off ticket. He was 46, had a successful business, a new wife, and a teenage daughter from his first marriage. And for a moment, everything seemed perfect. He took the lump sum, and after taxes, it was $425,000 that he took home. He even showed up for the photo op with one of those giant checks, grinning next to his family at the same 7-Eleven where he bought the ticket. Life was good, but then something shocking happened. Literally the day after his check was issued, Uruj was dead. It started like any normal evening. His wife, Shabana, made lamb curry to celebrate. He sat down with her dad, and his daughter for dinner. Hours later, he was screaming in pain and rushed to the hospital. By morning, he was gone. Doctors said he died of heart disease. No one thought it was suspicious, so they didn't ask for an autopsy. This case was closed. Well, at least for a while. But then his brother started asking questions. The sudden death didn't sit right. He pushed for a deeper investigation, and thank goodness he did. Because when they finally tested Uruj's blood, he was shocked to find out that it had a lethal amount of cyanide in it. His body had to be exhumed for more testing, but by then it had decomposed too much to find much else. Still, it was enough for officials to call it a homicide. And this is where it all turns into a courtroom circus. Family members were suddenly fighting over Uruj's estate as there was no will. His brother said his daughter deserved her share. His wife said she was entitled to everything. Then, out of nowhere, Uruj's ex-wife appeared saying she hadn't seen her daughter in over a decade, and now she wanted to reconnect. So now we have poison, mystery money, and a tangled family feud. But one thing remains unsolved. Who poisoned Uruj Khan? No one has been charged to this day. And if you thought this was twisted, wait until you hear about the lottery winner who was killed right in front of his family. Number 1. Gregory Birch Jr. Gregory Birch Jr., just 20 years old, working as a forklift driver in Georgia, doing his best to stay afloat. Then, one day in late 2015, everything changed when he won the Fantasy 5 lottery, over $430,000. To someone struggling, that's a huge amount of money. So Gregory didn't waste it. He didn't buy a mansion or move away. Instead, he used the money to help others. He bought Christmas gifts for local families. He helped people who had less than him. He wanted to give back. And that's what makes this story so hard to take, because Gregory did everything right. But as soon as his name and photo were made public, the danger began. It didn't matter that he stayed humble. People saw the money, and that was enough. On January 20th, 2016, just 2 months after his big win, masked intruders kicked in the door of his home. His girlfriend was inside, and so were his children. Gregory begged the robbers not to hurt anyone. He even offered to give them whatever they wanted, and even begged them not to do anything to him in front of his kids. But it didn't matter. One of them shot him anyway, and he died right there. The police said it was not random and that he had been targeted, watched, followed, all because he got lucky and because people knew he had money. 7 people were arrested. Some were just teenagers, others were women. So yes, it was all deeply planned. It's sad to think that Gregory didn't live long enough to enjoy the future he was gifted. The lottery changed his life and ended it. Some wins lift you up, others paint a target on your back. And for Gregory, it was the latter. But not every lottery story ends in disaster. Some people actually manifested millions and lived long enough to enjoy it. Watch our next video if you want to meet the lucky ones who did it right.